Shalom. They had a study on vaccines for children. And so one of the Gentile families, she named Maddie, and she had a lot of reactions from the vaccine. I know a lot of people don't talk about the vaccine anymore, but now they tried to bury the girl case. This looked like an update from December of last year, 2023, Slovakia. But it showed all the reactions. Family, this is why I say it's good to try to look up on vaccines and what it does to the body, and especially the jab, this one, that the COVID-19 vaccine, what it does and to the body, and how it killed so many different people in the past and even now.
Today we begin with a little-told story about COVID vaccine injuries. It's the story of Maddie, one of the children who took part in Pfizer's vaccine study on children. It's a remarkable account of what happened when Maddie got very, very sick, leading to accusations that Pfizer, the FDA, and the study leaders tried to bury her case. In summer of 2020, Stephanie DeGarry and her family learned an important clinical trial was about to be launched at nearby Cincinnati Children's Hospital. It would test Pfizer's experimental COVID-19 vaccine on 12 to 15-year-olds to see if it was safe and effective. The DeGarrys, firmly pro-vaccine, didn't hesitate to let their children take part. Among 3 siblings, 12-year-old Maddie alone was chosen to get 2 doses of Pfizer's vaccine rather than a harmless placebo. It proved a fateful and debilitating roll of the dice.
Her second dose was January 20th of 2021. She had what she described as electrical shocks going up and down her spine. She said she felt like her heart was being ripped out. So chest pain. She had severe abdominal pain. She was hunched over when she walked through the door. Her toes and her fingers were white, and they were like, when you touch them, they were ice cold and painful.
Did you think right away that this was probably a vaccine reaction?
100%. There was nothing wrong with her prior to that.
Before long, Maddie lost feeling in her legs. Here, she's scooting on the floor and using her hands to lift her legs. DeGarry says she was shocked when the lead study doctor offered no help. She found herself reluctantly following the advice of physicians who insisted Maddie's paralysis, seizures, passing out, all of it were caused by anxiety.
When she was in her hospital stay in April, they treated her horribly. They treated her like a crazy person.
Maddie was rushed to the ER 9 times. By the time she was hospitalized for the 3rd time, she had heart problems, seizures, was passing out, vomiting, unable to swallow, and was fed through a tube. She was in the hospital that time for a month and a half.
Hey, welcome back.
I need to take this out. No. Studies are conducted to identify and investigate any health risks. Maddie's reaction was a giant red flag for Pfizer's vaccine. But the DeGarrys say those involved seem more interested in blaming Maddie's illnesses on anything but the obvious culprit. While Maddie was fighting for her life, the FDA granted emergency use of Pfizer's vaccine for kids as young as age 12, based on the study Maddie took part in. In a press release, Pfizer reported its vaccine had a favorable safety profile observed across 6 months of safety follow-up data after the 2nd dose. No mention of what happened to Maddie. Parents across the country started rushing to get their children the heavily promoted shots.
I took a trip up there to the North Pole. I went there and I vaccinated Santa Claus myself.
Government / the drug company and study folks did not want to acknowledge this as a vaccine adverse event.
No, they did not.
And you feel they were not honest about the reporting?
They reported it as functional abdominal pain, so it's basically a stomach ache that you can't explain.
Congress, heavily funded by pharmaceutical industry donations, has avoided the subject of vaccine injuries for years. There were no official hearings on COVID vaccine side effects.
Neither Pfizer, the FDA, or the CDC has ever talked to us or attempted to. We have never heard anything from them.
By then, COVID vaccines have been given to young people for 6 months, with sometimes tragic results.
He got vaccinated on a Friday, and on Sunday, Sunday morning at 1 a.m., was on life support. He was diagnosed with myocarditis. Doctors, of course, would not say it was vax-injured, but why would a 6-year-old have myocarditis?
My son Sean played hockey his whole life. To continue to play hockey, he had to get a vaccine. He took 1 Pfizer shot and died 33 days later.
The DeGarrys gave the government and those who experimented on Maddie permission to talk with us about her case. However, Pfizer, Cincinnati Children's Hospital, and lead study scientist Dr. Robert Frank declined comment and wouldn't answer our questions. Same with CDC, which also wouldn't tell us how many adverse event reports in children it's received for COVID vaccines.
July of 2022, we saw a neurologist that specializes in autoimmune reactions that cause neurologic problems. And she was diagnosed with chronic inflammatory demyelinating polyneuropathy. So basically, that's where your body attacks your nerves.
That's an immune disorder known to develop after other vaccinations, too. and is reported in other COVID vaccine recipients after Maddie. In small advances, DeGarry says there's hope Maddie will eventually recover, though the family will never be the same.
It's a story of opening up my eyes, seeing things. I trusted the government, I trusted doctors, I trusted hospitals. What I thought they were is not what they are.
My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. There was so much abominable things in this vaccine that you can't even turn from. A lot of people did a lot of research on the COVID-19 vaccine being the mark of the beast, and it's a lot of information and people who did a lot of research on it. And I mean, it's obvious, and I could link the information. I'm gonna show the information on here, and I'm gonna point you to the right direction where you need to go at. Dr. Sheriff Tenpenny exposes the vaccine and tell you what's all in it, and exposes what's in the medical industry. That's why I try to show people about her, and she been going against this thing for over 20 years.
There's been people who've long suspected that there was some sort of an interface, yet to be defined, an interface between what's being injected in these shots and all of the 5G towers. Not proven yet, but we're trying to figure out what is it that's being transmitted to these unvaccinated people that are causing health problems.
Tenpenny is now...
Yeah, Dr. Tenpenny has a lot of helpful classes you can take, and she'll teach you about the vaccines or just being healthy and what to take for natural herbs and all. And you really should check her out, family. There's nothing wrong with checking and learning for yourself about how the medical industry is, and she'll tell you, explain what they put in the vaccines and all. She even also talks about the vaccines that are given to infants when they first born. I really think that's really important, because what they put into that vitamin K shots, and she goes over that and how they talks about the SIDS and everything. It's really good for y'all to just even check the website, because she got a free course on that if you have a newborn. I really want to touch on Juvenile, because he really was a Judas goat around that time. If you don't know what a Judas goat is, it's a goat that lead all the sheep to the slaughterhouse to get slaughtered. And he really slaughtered a lot of sleep Israelites that took the jab, and really upsetted me when I first heard it. I was shocked and I couldn't believe it. And especially around the time when people was wanting everything to go back to normal, so they came out, had Fauci, I'm pretty sure, was behind all of this, and all the Freemasonry, or giving him money to just even sell his people. I will run a clip of the song for y'all can see it.
You finna online date chat, find a mate chat, open up BOK ass, okay yeah, profile picture looking tight chat, nice chat, got your bio reading right chat, precise chat, but before you find a date chat, you gotta wait chat, gotta go vaccinate chat, get it straight chat, girl you look good, want you vax that thing up, you's a handsome young brother, want you vax that thing up, dating real life, you need to vax that thing up, feeling freaky all night, you need to vax that thing up. Girl, you look good, want you vax that thing up. You's a handsome young brother, want you vax that thing up. Dating real life, you need to vax that thing up. Feeling freaky all night, you need to vax that thing up.
I know you can't stand it, no holding hands, chick. But when we get the shot, we gon' be romancing. Girl, you could be.
A lot of people around 2021 and 2020, they were so convinced to take the shot, the jab back then, and I just knew something wasn't right in my gut. It was just saddening just to see so many people to take it, and now years later, 2 years later, or a year and a half before, a lot of people just been passing away. If you ever seen that video, that movie, a documentary called Die Suddenly, I would tell you to watch Die Suddenly documentary, and they don't have it on YouTube no more because it was controversy. So you could check it on BitChute though. Check it on BitChute, and people still are dropping dead to this day, right now in 2024 now.